Check the mic and make sure it sound right.
How you doing? I'm DK Will. I hope the mic sounds right. Today we're going to talk about when the money started talking, the BIS started walking. And that BIS, of course, is the Bank of International Settlements. We're going to talk about how what we're witnessing here is really a war. It's really a battle for control. And it's really a battle to stop losing control. Well, the question is, control of whom? There was a time when regular folks controlled their system of exchange, their money, and it was called the barter system. And because it was strictly between the individuals making the exchanges, the governmental powers and the banks really had no say in it. If I grew corn and you raised livestock and you needed my corn and I needed your livestock, we met, we made a deal, we made a trade, and we both got what we needed. Keeping in mind that money per se can be whatever we choose it to be. In that illustration I just gave you, my corn was money, your livestock was money. We could collectively decide that Tootsie Rolls out of a cat litter box are money. Of course, cat ownership will go up, but as long as everybody agrees that that's money, well then, that's money. And that's kind of what's been happening with the cryptocurrency industry, but we'll talk about that going forward. The difference then comes into currency, cryptocurrency. Currency is not necessarily identical to what money is. And to call it decentralized currency just means it's not in the hands of the government. But is it? There's been a lot of things going on behind the scenes and moving and shaking to get control of our money. And the way to get control of our money was to design currencies. And we're not guessing that this is the goal, because when you start looking deeper, you find out just who is behind it all. Earlier I mentioned we were going to look into an interview of Julia Chatterley of Augustine Carson's, the GM of the Bank of International Settlements. Keep in mind, I've said before, and I'll keep saying, that the central bank, the BIS, is the central bank of central banks. And the Federal Reserve is just another central bank. And so, although they give them different titles, all of them are privately owned. But we'll look into that further. Let's catch the intro of what we're dealing with here. So we're going to look into this interview a little bit, but we're also going to be looking behind the scenes. We're going to be lifting the curtain. We're going to be finding out what's really going on, at least from the perspective of DK Will. This quote you see here was attributed to the Rothschilds, the house of the Rothschilds. There's a little debate as to its origin because it came out years after the one they attributed to died, but without getting into that, we've heard it before. It does exist, and what it says is, let us control the money of a nation, and we care not who makes its laws, said to be a maxim of the house of the Rothschilds, and even more vaguely, of the money lenders of the world. Why is that important? Why am I talking about the Rothschilds? Well, here's a complete list of the Rothschild owned and controlled banks. And just to give you a clue, you can see those flags around that man's head. But as you look at this page, and I'll put the link down in the description, you can see that an increasing number of people are waking up to the fact that 99% of the Earth's population is controlled by an elite 1%. Here is a complete list of those banks. It boggles the mind. Here is a complete list of those banks owned by the Rothschild family. And it's hard to find a country missing, folks. Keep in mind, these are privately owned banks. And these privately owned banks include the Fed, which is generally unknown to the public, sitting on its very own patch of land, immune to U.S. laws just like the District of Columbia. The IRS is a foreign private corporation. Of course, you have the link in the bottom. You'll be able to read this more thoroughly. So when we listen to this interview with Mr. Carstens from the Bank of International Settlements, let's not forget who's really behind the scenes and what are they really concerned about and what are they really after. Well, the interview continues. Let's listen in. It's an ecological disaster. The man just picked up Bitcoin and threw it down, body slammed it, picked it up and body slammed it again. Clearly, Bitcoin does not fit into the BIS agenda. I'm sorry for all the Bitcoin maximalists out there, but that's just the facts. Those who are in control of the banks currently are not for Bitcoin. And you saw that there. You notice too that he didn't even address the fact that people don't trust the governments. And remember our quote in the beginning, they don't care as long as they control the money. But I'm not making up this idea that they want to control the money. Because as we go further into the interview, pay very close attention to the man's own words. look for something like this. Something like Bitcoin, but not Bitcoin. Cross-border payment. Sound familiar? But you'll notice the man was talking about digital currencies. Keep it in mind, there's a difference between digital money and digital currencies. The man said people are asking for it. What people? Well, I did a little research and I found out that only 3.9% of the global population owns cryptocurrencies. And that 3.9% amounted to about 307 million people who own cryptocurrencies. Keep in mind that leaves 96.1% of people who do not. So when he says people are asking us to provide them with cash in a digital form, what people is he talking about? Maybe it's the people behind the curtain. Maybe they're losing control and they're concerned. I'm convinced that that's the issue. Let's listen in as the interview continues. Who has control of the information of people? The commercial banks, all of which we own because we own, being the Rothschilds, the central banks that are in all of these countries that produce and loan the money to those countries, we don't have any control of this cryptocurrency thing because it's kind of like the barter system. It's decentralized. Well, I think it's actually a Trojan horse, but nonetheless, it is decentralized from the central banks. And so they're worried and they don't want to lose control. So what are they going to do? They're going to create their own digital form of money. Those are called central bank digital currencies. And I want to stress here, folks, that there's a difference between central bank digital currencies and cryptocurrencies. There's a difference between digital money and cryptocurrency. And as you saw the way Mr. Carson's picked up and body slammed Bitcoin, they're not happy with these cryptocurrencies coming into the picture. Remember, they want to control the money of a nation. They don't want people trading things without their being involved. So they're worried, folks. The thing about control is once you give it up, it's very hard to get it back. They know that. We as people gave up control of our means of exchange when we decided to use their currency as money. And now they're concerned because big tech, under the guise of the people, began to take control of the means of exchange through cryptocurrency. So now they are creating digital currency. It's all not the same. But one thing is certain. The world is going virtual. Your phone will be your wallet. And cryptocurrencies and digital currencies will be the means of exchange on this planet. They told us a long time ago what their plans were. And I don't know about you folks, but I noticed something very interesting about this. Those of us who really have our ear to the ground look for it to start in London. Can Britain keep booming? Satoshi Nakamoto. What's that? What's that mean? Investment banks pull back, maybe push back, because now the institutions, investment banks, are running after crypto. This symbol here, does that look familiar, folks? That looks very much like the stellar lumens to me. And I couldn't help but see that X on this phoenix. So money's going through some changes, folks. And that interview shows that the war continues, and many are not aware of this war. And I've said in other videos, which I'll put the cards on this video, that we are at war. And it's a war for everything. It's a war for control of everything, including the money. So when the money started talking, the BIS started walking. I'm DK Well. I want to thank you for watching my video. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and please come back.